Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After a short break, we are ready to delve back into more Valorant action, and we've gone the distance, Dust. I don't think many people would have necessarily expected it, seeing NRG, but KUDOS showing to us that they are no joke. They are to be reckoned with, and you must give them their due respect. Otherwise, they will punish you as they just did. And now we move across the split, and for me, it's anybody's match.
Yeah, NRG may have spent a truckload of money just to go out in the round of 64, putting this team together. So this is well and truly pressure on for these players, right? I mean, they come over with a very solid CSGO pedigree, particularly Dats as an in-game leader, very good reputation coming over from CS. And Stom was like seen as this young upcoming talent over on Gen G, was doing some pretty good things with them throughout this year. And, you know, you had someone like Kohler, who, you know, obviously was a pretty big piece of the Immortals team that was placing really well in all the North American Valorant tournaments over the last few months. A couple of third-place finishes included in that. And, you know, Kohler, while he wasn't, you know, the star name like an Asuna or a Dicey, he's now been given that opportunity on this NRG team. And, you know, in the first map, he looked quite good. Second map, a little bit of a cold start, had some recovery, but still not quite exactly what they were hoping for, I'd imagine. And again, NRG have invested a lot in this team. You know, when it comes to names on paper, when it comes to money spent, when it comes to salaries being paid, that's a lot of investment. And to go out in the open qualifiers this early would be a shock, I think, to them. No pun intended to the other team that they own. But man, like, this has been so fun to watch, though. So, like, from a third-party perspective, where I couldn't care less who comes out on top, I'm having a lot of fun. This is a blast. KUDOS is doing great work.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And, you know, we mentioned him quite a few times, but I knew nothing about him coming into this tournament. Teddy on Cypher has been a real revelation for me. He's just been destroying. He gets the first picks. He's playing super aggressive as Cypher, even on defense sides. As you said before, he's not playing a style of Cypher that you're accustomed to viewing. Typically, Cypher falls into kind of like a box. You know what to roughly expect from Cypher. Well, Teddy's blowing that completely out of proportion. He's just going crazy with him.
Yeah, and it's great because Split's another map where Cypher is obviously going to have a lot of impact, right? I mean, Cypher pretty much is picked on every single map, and so he'll still be able to play right at home with Cypher onto this one. Can anchor either side defensively. I've seen teams do it either way. Obviously, attacking-wise, usually going to be using the periphery of the map for information, particularly over at A ramps. A lot of the time is how I see Cypher use attacking-wise. Not sure how KUDOS will do it, though. So yeah, he'll be able to kind of just continue on, probably feel pretty comfortable, and we'll just have to see how it goes. And for NRG, again, I want to see what their attacking side is going to be like. In particular, because I feel like there's been some, you know, left to hope for, I think you can say, with NRG's attacking side so far this tournament. I haven't been as impressed as I would hope. And this is another map where mid-control is going to be vitally important. And that's the big thing I want to see. Like, this map is so mid-control driven on teams being able to attack into middle and control that vents and mailroom area. And it's about how defenses handle that. Because a lot of teams will play like double B heaven setups. They'll do different things on the edges of the map to compensate for losing middle. And I'm curious to see how both these teams handle that pressure, because that can be a very tough thing to deal with on this map. And that's going to be the real big test, I think, for both these teams on how they handle that.
I'm also really interested to see if we spot any changes of agents. We saw Jonah go for a breach in the first map, was very good on it, then switched to the race, equally good, I would say. Curious where he comes down. I wonder if we see any changes also on the NRG side of things, thinking, listen, Bind didn't really work out for us. Split is a very intricate kind of map where, as you said, mid-control is really important. Do we start to see some more hard breach-style kind of agents come to the forefront, perhaps?
Well, I can tell you, you're not going to see Sova on this map. This is the one map where Sova really doesn't get picked up. Obviously, you'll probably still see a lot of Omen and Cypher, but because Sova does not come into this map, it opens up the door for more breach play. His flashes can be super powerful, particularly for some of the sight bursts that you can do on attack side. So that's something that we'll probably see. I think that this map also lends itself, if you want to pick a Viper. We've seen a little bit of Viper being played, particularly by Anbox in the most recent Nerd Street Gamers Renegades tournament. They were putting some Viper use into play because her wall, her toxic screen, is actually very effective, particularly on the A side of the map. It can cover a lot of ground by itself. So you could see maybe some Viper, if like, as far as like a curveball. I wouldn't expect it. Like, I'm not expecting to see it happen because it is still so rarely picked. But it could be, you know, something that comes out. You know, there's been some teams experimenting with it. Killjoy is also an option on this map that we've seen some teams roll. But again, I would expect Cypher to be the primary. And yeah, other than that, I think you'll see a lot of the same kind of duelists being used. I don't think either player between Som and Hero will come off of Jet on this map. There's really no reason to. So I expect that will still be very much in the fold. But yeah, outside of that, it'll be interesting to see, if there are any changes, as we're kind of hinting at. Definitely the Sova change will be there, though. I really doubt you see a Sova being played here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're yet to see, as we're just waiting for the teams to get ready so we can delve into our third map. And actually, we're going to be jumping into our map fly-through right now. We haven't casted Split yet today, so this is going to be a real joy. And I'll be curious to see how these two teams come out and factor in and filter in. One team must win. One team is going to be put to the sidelines. Who will it be? I wonder how many people would have expected potentially NRG to already be down a peg or two come the end of the 64.
I think most people have been surprised at the match being close, much less them actually dropping one in the series. I mean, again, that is going to be disappointing for them if they fall out this early on, considering the investment behind this team and considering the name value that NRG brings in the esports space. But indeed, it does come down to Split. Our first time seeing it today. Obviously, you out there should be no stranger to this map. One of the core maps to Valorant from the very beginning. It's had some changes here and there, but still very much at home on this map, no matter what.
Has your feed froze as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You know,
I'm just staring at a tower right now.
Yeah, you know, it's a cool looking tower. Hey, there we go.
There we go.
Yes.
So good.
And indeed, reaches out to play. No Sova in sight, as we kind of expected. Other than that, nothing's really... Oh, there's a Sage from Zebra. Okay. This is actually one of the maps where Sage's wall can be very useful, particularly at mid defense. It can also be used, in particularly for B burst plays. The Sage wall can cover a lot of ground on B to help you kind of cross into sight. So while Sage pretty much got nerfed into oblivion, this is a map that she can still really have a lot of value. So I'm happy to see her in play here from KUDOS.
Yeah, that barrier is definitely going to be a consistent feature. I'll have to see how they can occupy it from the attacking side, though. Maybe fend off one of those angles they look to push in. In terms of the setup right now, it is basically an A-centered hit from NRG in terms of their defenses, filtering out with 2 in middle, but by and large giving up B and just having Daps watching over from the top
and there
of
it
the
is.
Rafters.
There's that wall I'm talking about, and it's been able to reinforce. So that's going to be allowing a route into the site now to get that, and also a great jet dash to get in, but can they hold off the street take fence? They're already a man down in it.
Yeah, and NRG were playing for the retake anyway. They only had 1 player up in the rafters, so the second that happened, they just backed off. And now Exceed up close, delivering fatal blows with Som. It seems like KUDOS may very well have got the plant, but whether they can hold on to it is looking unlikely. Cloudburst out to just stop any of the stragglers, and Cola, he had a slow start beginning, and let's be honest, end in their second map, but he has really come to life here on Split.
Yeah, that's a great retake from NRG, and that kind of gives us our first little taste on what you're going to be seeing, because I guarantee you that combination of that Sage wall and the breach rapid fire flashes and the jet dash is going to be a B execute we're going to see even on gun rounds later on, I'd imagine. So the fact that NRG were able to handle it in the pistol with a good retake is going to be something that KUDOS is going to have to think about going forward. Obviously, there's other uses for Sage besides just that. But that is definitely one of the popular ways to use Sage on attacking side, is that particular wall. You can also use the wall to help you out in other areas, particularly holding off retakes. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out going forward.
Slow orb being set up for an A hit. Ooh, good flashpoint as well, keeping them at arm's reach, but now the Spectre starts to rip through the oncoming KUDOS players. Som has been tagged down so hard, I have no idea how he's still alive. How is he still in this? And Fletcher finally finishes him off. There is a tripwire down in the vents. And all around the world tactic. They've gone via B, in towards middle, through onto A rafters, but now they have been subdued and pushed back just for a few more moments before they look to try and pull the trigger on this push. But they only have 2 players left now.
Yeah, we see NRG being able to kind of regather themselves. It was a good little quick transition from KUDOS to slide back their vents to B side, but Kohler's done a great job kind of holding them off. Daps making the rotation as well. A couple of big kills. Gets the hat trick, in fact, on the round with Omen. So good response from NRG and what could have been a very chaotic moment when that transition took place through the vents, but not going to really come into play there for KUDOS the way they had hoped, as they're now down 0-2 and still can't really go for the buy. will just have to be on the Sheriffs. They put an investment in that previous round that didn't pay off. They've also not been able to get a spike plant in that last round either. So, again, we'll just have to sit back on the pistols and give NRG a great opportunity to go ahead and get the big 3-0 start.
Behind me.
It has been a convincing start to our third map, maybe proving points to themselves as opposed to anyone else. It's a point that we raised before where a massive underdog team, even to win a map, is a minor victory. And obviously they want the whole thing. They want to have the whole cake and eat it, indeed. As Daps is forced back, EU with a crossfire. Hera is the only player on KUDOS that's really stepped up and landed anything, and it's a Sheriff one tap. Annulling some of those plays and looking to exploit that momentary weakness, which has now been filled in by 2 more of the defenders. And Daps with the spray is merciless. NRG off to a peerless start.
Yeah, couldn't have really gone better for NRG as far as how things have kicked off in this half, but now we will have KUDOS onto the full firepower and abilities being purchased, so they'll be able to put their best foot forward here. Again, mid control is a very big part of the game. Usually the Omen for the attacking side will be smoking off that ropes position to allow them to gain access to middle and start putting pressure on Male, or even take vents for themselves to pressure A Heaven for different types of site splits. A plays across ramps are also quite common. There are some B burst options available with Breach's flashes as well as Sage's wall, which we saw in the pistol round already. We see Kohler getting real aggro there with the showstopper early. Not going to hit his mark, though, so unfortunately that ult will not have any impacts. In the meantime, we do see that mid-control I was speaking of taking place here from KUDOS. Again, Cypher will often be used as a lurk player on the A side of the map to gain information with his cams.
Breach flash is good, but so is Kohler's spray.
Oh, wow.
And the Vandal goes in and rips in for a 3rd headshot.
That's
now, we
disheartening.
said that second map, he was slow, but my God, has he woken up.
Yeah, I mean, him playing that role on B Heaven and just in mid in general is going to be a big way that the pace of this half will be dictated. Again, a lot of teams will defensively kind of give up middle. They won't really play anyone inside those vents or ropes, and they really will kind of be playing that double B Heaven setup. And so essentially, with that, Kohler is going to be called on a lot to make plays like that. And so the fact that he stepped up to the plate right away with a really big round there is great news for NRG, who, again, tournament life on the line for them. And while it's sustained for KUDOS, I think the pressure's a bit higher for NRG. The stakes are higher.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. KUDOS lose this. Oh, it's to be expected. If NRG lose this, as you said, the amount of money that's been spent... Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Only 4 kills in 4 rounds. Pretty grim. Teddy, the player that we've been really, well, just going crazy over how good he's been. He's not even got an assist. He's been eerily quiet.
Yeah. Still early days, though. They've only had 1 full buy. They kind of went for something a little bit more heavy-handed on round 2 that didn't pay off, so they've had to be a little bit more thrifty, I guess the game would say, as we are going to see Zebro using the slow to kind of make sure that no pushes take place. You'll probably see Sage doing that a lot as a B lurk, just kind of making sure that no one's pushing through B and getting intel by using the slowers to discourage any type of aggressive movements in that direction while the rest of the team takes mid control. And indeed, they're going to be doing that again here with the pistols. They do have the blades out on Hera. That's going to be their main hope of finding openings.
Hasn't had a great success rate, though, when it comes to the Blade Storm. This time around, will make it stick.
Oh, wow.
Lands it. That flashbang could not have been better placed. It landed in the eyes of 3 players, but Daps also takes a little bit of utility on his own side. 2v2. KUDOS not really with much into this round in terms of finances. May be able to stick this yet, or perhaps not. Som straight through the rafters, catching them both off guard. Successful defuse comes in, 5-0 start, but that was pretty damn close.
That's a cool plant. You don't really see that location being used for a spike plant, but the slow orb gave the confidence that they could plant in that spot and then kind of use it to really see it from a lot of places, whether that be the rafters, whether that be pushing into defending spawn. So I'm kind of curious if that'll come into play later on or not. Don't really see that too often. Back to the full buy will be KUDOS on max loss bonus and a spike plant. So we'll be able to afford pretty much all that they can hope for, but now they need to get rolling. This is the round I feel like they need to win before they let the energy momentum spiral out of control. And they're going to be going for something heavy-handed at A right off the rip. They're going to probably try to smoke their way into an A ramp's press and try to put that pressure on A Heaven.
Well, the pressure is certainly being applied, looking to put NRG to the sword. But they may very well fall on it if they're not careful. Exceed and Som both getting kills, and, well, the yikes says it all, doesn't it? Although Teddy, actually, he's not too interested in this. He's still in this round. The tailwind's used perfectly to get Som the hell out of trouble. And now goes back in for more. Third kill of the round, leaving Teddy, who's already posted up some serious entry frags, to walk into the crosshair, but actually Som misses.
That was so close.
That puts it down to Daps. Teddy moving up to retrieve the spike. No idea as to where Daps is residing, is waiting. Now, with each second that this passes, Daps may assume that this is a rotation back over onto the B side of the map. He still has the cross towards the site. This all just comes down to patience. Who holds their nerve longer? Obviously, it will favor Daps in this situation because Teddy knows he still has to plant the spike. He knows he has to make a move. And this patience from Daps is so huge. He is moving in into the crosshair. He gets spotted and Daps takes his head off. Well played.
Yeah, definitely amazing for Daps to hold his nerve. He was basically just saying, look, if you come A, I've got you dead to rights. If I have to rotate over in the 1v1 on B, so be it. But I'm not going to, you know, play haphazardly or play halfway. I'm just going to pick one side and hold it. And that's what he did. And he gets benefited for that choice. Big round there from him. That was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I felt like NRG's initial defense on that take was so very good, only for it to get into like a really tense 2-on-2 in the end. So that was a little bit shocking, but NRG do find their footing to now jump up to a 6-0 lead. And now they're looking to challenge mid with Sam's operator. But it is going to be that A ramp take coming in from KUDOS, but this is not really the bulk of the attack. In fact, I think their goal here is to actually try to get into vents and pressure mid that way and try to split this B side. The problem is, look at this aggression from NRG at middle with their own Omen. It's going to be Daps.
Off your feet!
Yeah, so much information that gets gathered in amongst all of that. Here comes the Rolling Thunder. Here comes the push.
Oh, no.
Getting caught on the tripwire. And dazed and confused is Jonah, but Hera still comes out ahead in the trades. Bladestorm has been picked up on Som, who still has the operator at his disposal. Cola straight through with an entry back in towards the rafters. And Teddy planting the spike elsewhere. Wall goes down to perfection. The barrier living up to its name, barricading off the team from the aggression of EU, who now just needs to stay alive and let the rest of the troops deliver some much-needed support. He stands his ground, as does Cola. Zebro spins into action, flash in his face, and Dap shuts him down in the back. Another successful retake for NRG.
Yeah, I say NRG did a pretty good job stalling out that A heaven pressure from really being able to pose too much of a threat on the vents itself. And with Daps having such forward position at middle, while it did leave the B site vulnerable, they knew that it was like a one-way attack. They knew that everyone must have been coming through B main. They didn't have to worry about flanks or anything gimmicky. They could just focus their retake on the side itself. And so while KUDOS found a bit of a gap to get that spike plant, unable to really handle any of that retake. And now, once again, they are having to work with very little, and they are so far down the scoreboard. This is a much different feeling, a much different vibe than how the rest of the series has gone. This is the first time we've really seen KUDOS crumble and NRG just absolutely dominate. There's been a couple of close rounds, sure, but NRG have locked them all up.
Yeah, this has been a big change of pace from what we saw in the second. Here comes Rolling Thunder again. Showstopper alongside it. It could be a massacre. It is a massacre. Will there be any survivors? Or maybe there will. Maybe they can turn it around. Jonah's just come in with a double sheriff. I have no idea how that just happened, but yet they still stand. They still deliver. Another close round. But now Jonah's been sprayed out of existence, and Hero will follow suit. It's a nice try from KUDOS, considering how many ults are up against them, but it's still 8-0 come the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that NRG got a little bit over-eager after those first couple of frags to keep pushing forward, and you might be right in saying that, but at the end of the day, they still comfortably won the round, surviving with 3 members, and they have a pretty swelling economy, so that's not going to hurt them too much. They lost those players. It's a small victory for KUDOS. But they are going to have Hera on the attacking Opla Jet, which is a lot harder to pull off, Vince. The movement and accuracy of that weapon is way higher than it used to be, so It's going to take a lot of assistance to be able to find something with this. But Hero will be able to kind of slowly creep out. That cage will eventually deploy so Hero can focus on taking a pick into heaven or to screens. And that's exactly what Hero's going to do on the A side. In the meantime, mid control being taken by some of his other teammates. Exceed, good vision of A heaven, knowing that they haven't pushed all the way up through ramps just yet. So it's kind of a stalemate for now.
Oh, Som, though, has gone on to Hera. So that aggressive AWP, as you mentioned, has now been suppressed down. Have to passively wait for the next round, which could be NRG continuing their flawless run streak of rounds.
Yeah, they already have a pretty big rotation here. They have their male defense pressing deep and having good vision of middle itself. They have the A defense again very well reinforced. Stats taking it further with a push into ramp for a kill. A great paranoia gives him a way to get out. Great pickup from Exceed as well. It is just damning what is happening to KUDOS right now on their attacking side. They can't even really make any progress past the initial choke point now all of a sudden. They are getting absolutely destroyed, Vince. This is perhaps the most one-sided half we've seen all day, and we had some pretty big games, kind of 100 thieves to kick off the matches here in the open qualifier, so that's saying a lot.
Oh, I absolutely think this is the most one-sided, because even the I think it was 13-3 for the first map.
13-2, I think.
There were 13-2. There were 3 or 4 rounds at least that could have easily gone the way of Hot Thoughts. So, I mean, yeah, I think this is by far the most one-sided. And you look at the kill dispersal, it's like combined, they have, what, 15 kills?
Yeah, that's what
Daps never has that by himself.
Yeah, that's and it's Daps. I mean, no offense to the guy, but it's not even the start having to step up. But look at this from Zebra. This is interesting. I like this little wall boost attempt here. Again, because you don't see Sage so often, you don't get to see stuff like this. But it's been spotted already. They know exactly that what's in play here. They had the opening pick on the energy side already as well to boot.
Well, Hera. Fletcher straight through the Cypher cage. Has been decapitated, as will Zebro. Good flash onto Jonah. He landed 2 Sheriff kills earlier on a few rounds ago. He would have to double up on that promise. I'm not doubting the guy's skill level, but this would be a miracle play if he pulled it off. Oh, and to just make it a little bit worse, I now know exactly where you are, Chief, and you're dead.
Well, the series may have started out with a bang, with KUDOS being very impressive and challenging NRG to matches that were down to the wire, but it does seem that they're kind of going out with the whimper thus far, Vince, and that's a bit disappointing. I was really hoping to see the tense games continue on, but this has been a walk in the park for NRG thus far here on Split. I mean, I like that KUDOS were trying to bring something to the table a bit different by bringing Sage to play, which you don't see so often these days. But it really hasn't paid off.
Yeah, it feels like across the board it's not paid off either. Som missing out on his chance. Shot Tailwind out of there. Stay alive. One of the best hits that we've seen, though, from KUDOS. At least gets them on the board in terms of a spike plant. And a full 10-man battle is about to ensue. And they look to lock horns. 5v5 retake. Cypher posted up close. Has now been dispatched by Cola. That applies the pressure that little bit thicker. They have to maybe peek back in again. Paranoia is good, but so is here a spray. Fletcher and Jonah joining suit, and now it's all down to EO. Picked off a crazy 1v4 clutch on the second map, but this may be asking a little bit too much of the man who was playing with what, Jet last map, I believe it was? Or was it Sova? Doesn't really matter. It's the first round to KUDOS now.
You are correct. They haven't been able to finally put it on the board, but it's probably come a little bit too late, I'd imagine. I mean, this map I know is pretty defensive-sided, but not this much. This has been a really tough play here from KUDOS, but at least they were able to get one round in there. If they can finish it off with another and get pistol in the second half, maybe they could build something, but they still have so much work to do. A good take, as you said, and they were able to capitalize, but it just hasn't happened often enough this half. But they'll see what they can come up with. They're going to put that pressure now towards B lobby. Again, I imagine you're going to see that Sage wall put into play, a jet dash, some breach flashes. They're going to try to just overwhelm this player inside the site.
What a banging shot that was through the wall. Instantly revived, though, by Sage. Having a bit of impact. So early pick goes the way of NRG has been nullified and mitigated, and they look to draw away. They did lose a lot of utility, though, in the process. There,
I
a
don't
bunch
think
of flashes.
I don't think they dropped Sage's barrier there on that attack, though. I think they kind of feinted it, so they still, I think, have the barrier in play to use to cover that first cross, which is where Sam's posted up with the operator. So his op won't be able to stop them crossing into sight. So there's still a very real chance KUDOS can pull this side execute off.
And here it comes into play. But Sam has popped the Blade Storm. And he still has the updrift. He still has more than enough teammates to work off, and they've already dealt some fatal blows. In he comes, headshots aplenty. There's another one.
Wow.
Lovely play from Sam, lovely half from NRG.
That's man, that there's just like an anticlimactic feel to this game.
Switching sides.
Just the way the first two maps played out, I really thought we were in for a show. And I mean, in some ways we have been, but just not the one I thought. So props to NRG for really getting it into gear and dominating the game, but KUDOS, I hope that they can at least dig deep and find a way to challenge in the second half, Vince. It would be a shame to see them walk away after having such a great performance in the first two.
Oh, here is the GoPuff halftime replays. All of the main heavy-hitting moments of the first half, and let's be honest,
might as well just call it the NRG highlight reel.
Right, exactly. It was basically KUDOS getting KO'd over and over again.
I think NRG sponsored this segment.
So there we have it. 11-1. NRG 2 rounds shy of securing their spot in the round of 32. And Jonah trying to hold on desperately. That's a beautiful flash, but there's no one behind it. There's no real follow-up, and NRG are starting to just steamroll over the site. Deja vu. We've been here before. The outcome typically has been bleak for KUDOS. They do have 2 players left. Both of them are healthy, but a good fault line keeps them at bay. Boombot's been spotted compromising one of these 2 positions. Paranoia comes in, does deal with Sam. Hirak just snaps in with a headshot. Nicely done, but still has to deal with the threats of EU. And Daps through the dark cloud will just destroy him. The dark cover living up to its name. 12-1. NRG have 11 match points.
If you want to keep the dark term flowing, it would be dark times for KUDOS, as they are 1 round away from being eliminated here in this open qualifier. They certainly put on a good performance on average throughout the series, but they just did not show up to play here thus far on Split, and they're running out of time to show themselves. They will, of course, buy up all that they can, some judges, some stingers. They will try to put their best effort with what they can afford, but their chances do seem well and truly grim, as they are just waiting for NRG to show some presence, as it's pretty default here to open for NRG, just getting that mid control, keeping Cypher, holding intel on A, having raised lurk out in the B lobby. Pretty standard stuff here from NRG.
Some shoulder peeks from Fletcher, which does draw out a shot from Cola. But with so much time left, that information has a sell-by date. And the expiration pretty much already came in, let's be honest. Minute left on the clock.
Gathering up here as NRG over towards A side of the map, looking to put the smokes up on Heaven and likely screens, which would basically block out the site. Breach is the only person for KUDOS really kind of defending here openly, and he will likely be blocked off, and they will be forced to play for a retake. Indeed, the smokes do come down. There is some counter cages put into play, but NRG able to just spill in. Jonah does get back into the site, however. A good flash, a couple of kills. Only one, actually.
1 kill, but tons of damage. You can see that Cola only a couple of HP away from his demise, and from an early grave, an early bath. But another post-plant. The trade's going in favor of KUDOS, all stuck at the back of the site. And now Daps, last man standing, has been cordoned off from the Cypher cage. They're holding down on the defuse, and there's not really anything he can do about this, and he can't even make the most of it afterwards. He gets shut down. KUDOS survive by the skin of their teeth, but they're still in this.
Yeah, Jonah did a great job sliding back into the site, not letting the smoke at screens take him out of the round, and he was able to come in, get a kill, and like you said, do a lot of damage, and also buy time for the rotation to set up the retake. As you also noted, NRG basically just got trapped inside the site itself. We're never really able to you know, get themselves into screens or fall back towards ramps to, you know, get along with Bats, who was holding that position. They could just never really escape, and that really allowed KUDOS to build a nice retake there, but they must win 10 more in a row to force that overtime. It is going to be NRG with little to work with. Great wall there, but Som... Oh, actually whiffed the jump over it. That's big. That gives so much intel to KUDOS.
Intel and kills. Hira with a Vandal. Make short work. Oh, the judge is just spamming up through Som. Hira takes another one down, and NRG only have Exceed left. Not for too much longer, though. He's gone the way of the Dodo, and KUDOS have gone the way of a third round.
Yep, the judge's sentence was another round must being played by NRG. But now they will be back onto the full buy. Same could be said for KUDOS, including an operator in the hands of Hira, who has definitely shown us a time or two that he's quite capable. He'll be challenged immediately here on the A side. You can see that NRG are looking to burst onto the side. As I say that, Hira actually backs off to go towards B Heaven. It is well and truly just Breach playing this A side. The rotation's also quite far offense. This could be a big problem for KUDOS. They don't really have a rotation set up for this type of attack.
Get out of my way.
Exactly. Almost setting up for a retake, but
Can't even escape.
Yeah, exactly. If you're setting up for a retake, you at least need to keep all 5 players alive, or at least get a 1-for-1 trade. The fact that they're now 4v5 in a post plant with Cola getting up close and damage being inflicted, KUDOS have just shot themselves in the foot with a double-barreled shotgun. They've blown themselves to pieces with this decision, and they are getting punished severely. NRG victorious. It took longer than they're expecting, but they got it done on split very comfortably in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't a, you know, walk in the park for NRG, which is I'm sure they're hoping for this early on in the open qualifier. You don't want to be, you know, stressed out and having to break a sweat in the round of 64 if you're a big organization like NRG. But hey, at the end of the day, they got the W, which is what matters. And they did so in convincing fashion on that final map. For all the shortcomings they may have had in the opening 2 maps of the series, you know, some rounds that were quite all over the place, that one was textbook. You know, they didn't really let up. They seemed in control of the game the entire time. And we will have some great replays for you to sum things up. As, again, a shout out to our title sponsor here, Go Puff. If you're looking to get some deliveries, then you might want to check out Go Puff. They are the official delivery partner of Nerd Street. Use a promo code NerdStreet when you sign up, and you will get $4 off your first 4 orders. Definitely go give them a check out, as they are supporting us here in this qualifier. And again, as you'll see throughout these highlights, Vince, it was, you know, quite a solid game to kick things off on Haven. You know, very back and forth, very tight race. Same could really be said for Bind throughout the bulk of it. So it was a great series. You know, sometimes whenever you're in an open qualifier based on the seeding, you're going to get a lot of blowouts. And so the interest levels can be quite low. But honestly, I was really impressed with how KUDOS came out today. And they definitely made this an exciting series to follow.
Yeah, I'll be real, man. Like, I knew very little about KUDOS coming into this, and I come out really eagerly anticipating to see what these guys are going to do in the future. The man that just lit up the scoreboard there, Teddy in particular, was a real solid heavy hitter. He had a bit of an off game in the 3rd map, but eventually did start to come through with some more frags. But he was a massive part of the sort of a cog in the machine that was KUDOS. The fact is, first map was, what, 13-10? Second was 13-11. This was anything but a clear-cut series. The last map, obviously, is a blowout, of course, but there was a way that KUDOS could have won that first map as well, and this could have been a 2-0 to them. Could you have imagined the upset if that happened?
Yeah, that would have been pretty wild to see NRG step out. I mean, again, it's a kind of weird because from a brand value perspective, you expect great things from NRG. Just knowing them in other esports, knowing that the funding that's behind it, some of the names on paper are ones that are exciting coming over from Counter-Strike. But in reality, they are very unproven when it comes to Valorant. I mean, some of these guys are literally making their debut in this game. The only people who really had any experience coming into this was Kohler, because even EU was like a T1 Academy player. You know, it wasn't as if he was competing in a lot of the big tournaments. I think he stepped in for T1 for Pop Flash. I think maybe he played one bigger size tournament when he was actually on T1 Academy. But outside of that, it's not as if he himself had a whole lot of like top level experience. And Exceed is the same exact way. He's also making that transition from Counter-Strike and has only played a handful of games. And a lot of them are having to play a whole lot of new roles. Like Exceed was playing Agents. I wasn't used to seeing him play and some of the other stuff he's played in. You know, same could be said for Kohler, having the transition into more of a duelist role, having played more Cypher and like Omen and such. He was on Immortals alongside Asuna and Dicey, who were more the duelists on that team. So I think there's still a lot of moving parts in this NRG team. A lot of growing pains still going on, probably transitioning from Counter-Strike, where a lot of the fundamentals may be the same on like mechanics and crossfires and maybe some basic map control strategy. But there's still a lot to learn when it comes to agent abilities, you know, compositions and synergy. And so I think that, you know, they probably still have a lot of growing to do as a team, but at least they got the job done to move on in this bracket.
I think you've wrapped that up very well, Dust. I believe that we'll have a package here just letting you guys know when the next games will be coming up tomorrow and giving you a rough idea of the scheduling that'll be taking place. Because obviously this is only day one. There are tons more games on the line, tons more coming up. And obviously 16 teams will qualify to the First Strike tournament, which is going to be a huge step forward for their careers. And so here we go. Day one, obviously this is rounding off here. But day two is tomorrow. That's going to be the round of 32 and round of 16. Same time start as today. And then obviously for the rest of the week, it will be very much the same.
Yeah, indeed. This will actually be Vince and I done for the Open Qualifiers as commentators. We had a fantastic group of talent. A lot of them will be familiar faces if you followed some of the other events that have been going on in the Valorant over the last few months. Definitely a very great crew of people we have working with us here for the Nerd Street Gamers while we bring you through this first set of qualifiers for First Strike for the North American region. Hopefully Vince and I might be back, though, for some of the closed qualifiers and some other stuff. We're definitely hoping that we can do more. We've really enjoyed coming in. We really thank all of you in the Valorant community who've kind of embraced us so early on to give us some support and to tune in. And yeah, hopefully you'll see more in the future. If you enjoyed it, follow us up. We're open to feedback as well, whether that be on the competitive Valorant Reddit or whether that be on social media. You know, we're still learning. We're still have a lot, I think, to learn. But we prepared as hard as we could, and we came out here and gave our best. And hopefully you folks enjoyed it. And we got some good games at the very least, no matter what, right? I mean, we got to see 100 Thieves debut, which is a hell of a lot of fun. We got to see a close series there between, you know, NRG and KUDOS. And so I think all in all, today was a lot of fun. And a lot of you showed up to support, and that's awesome. It's great to see those types of numbers show up for an open qualifier for First Strike. And hopefully that will continue to build over time. And yeah, that's going to do it. Vince, any final thoughts as we sign off for the day?
It's been a blast, a pleasure as always. Thank you very much for having us, guys. But for us, for now, peace. Enjoy the rest of the action, guys, starting tomorrow.